Could you just tell the chairperson briefly about your career as a journalist? Your CV does appear, Mr. Chairman, his CV appears as the very last document in that same bundle at pages 34 up to 36. You may just want to turn to that and then just briefly tell the chairperson where you studied and you qualified as a journalist and where you worked.
Okay. So I did most of my schooling in Delhi, in India, at the Father Agnell School, and I have a degree in journalism from the University of Delhi. This I got in 1994. So since the time I graduated from college, I've been working straight through as a journalist. I've also worked as a consultant, a media consultant, and somewhere down the line, since I had been a television journalist and also helped set up stations, I'm a bit of a journalist and a startup person now. I started my career, like I said, in 1994, immediately after my graduation, with the Business World magazine, which is one of the leading business magazines in India, part of the Anand Bazar Patrika group. From there, I joined the Z Telefilms, which has got a station called Z News, which is one of the oldest television stations there, back in 1996. I was there for about 7 years, starting off as a reporter and working my way up through the ranks. I have headed the bureaus in Chennai in South India and Bombay. I was a bureau chief for Z News for a few years. After Z Telefilms, I joined New Delhi Television, which is a very well-respected television network in India. I was there for about 4 years. After which I joined an international television network, which is the Al Jazeera television. I was there for 2 years. I was the India correspondent based out of New Delhi. And I traveled through the region to Sri Lanka, to other parts of South Asia to report for Al Jazeera. Immediately after that, I joined a startup which was NewsX. I was part of the leadership team there that took the station to launch. And this is where I had my experience in helping launch channels from an editorial standpoint. After NewsX, I joined the India Today Group, which is one of the largest, oldest television networks in India. I was there for 4 years as editor, post which I went back and joined a station which is called News Nation, which was just starting up at that time. So I was the first executive editor there, helping the station launch, part of the leadership team that launched that station. Immediately after which I was contacted by Mr. Lakshmi Goyal, who was part of SL Media, the joint venture partner of ANN7 with the Gupta family, and asked whether I would be interested to go to South Africa to set up ANN7, which I did, and why they found me a suitable candidate for this was because I had exposure to international media, having worked with Al Jazeera for 2 years. Also, I had experience in being part of the leadership teams that set up stations in India and launched stations successfully. Post my experiences at ANN7, I came back to India. I was a consultant with the Rajasthan Patrika group here. And I went on from there to launch 2 stations in the south of India. One was called is called News 7 Tamil, which is a Tamil language news station, a 24-hour news station which is still in operations and is doing very well. Post which I launched Kaveri News very recently, which again is a station which is based out of Chennai in Tamil Nadu province in India. I came back to Delhi late last year because I had been on dialysis for 2 years, and these long hours of working, and I had to go for dialysis every second day, was taking a toll on my health, and we had already decided to go for a kidney transplant, which I got done in January this year. So I quit my job last year, and I have been asked by my doctors to take rest and not get into any full-time employment for 6 months. It's been 5 months now since my transplant, and that's a brief sketch of my career so far.
Yes, thank you.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you. You mentioned briefly that you were recruited by Mr. Lakshmi Goyal when the AN7 was going to be launched. Now, could you we're going to deal with that period now. You were recruited, and at the time you were in India and you were still employed, am I right?
That's correct.
Yes. And then after, did you then enter into an agreement with them, a signed agreement with them?
Yes.
Sorry, before you respond, Mr. Norman, in regard to names that you think the transcribers might not easily know how to spell, just help them by mentioning the spelling.
Oh, the spelling.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah,
Mr. Chairman.
yeah.
Mr. Laxmi Goel is spelled Laxmi, and then Goel is Goel. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, did you sign an agreement with Mr. Laxmi Goel, or who did you sign an agreement with?
Well, I was given a document which was the Infinity Media document which I signed.
Yes.
And that was a contract to work to help set up ANN7
Yes.
as
And
editor.
is that the document that appears in the same bundle that you're looking at page 6, and that's marked
Yes.
B1?
Yes. This is a copy that I received. I had signed a copy and given on to the HR team there.
Yes, thank you. If you go to page 6 of that document,
That's a document we find in Exhibit CC1A.
yes, Mr. Chairman, we're still dealing with Exhibit CC1A, yes.
What page of
Page 6,
Page 6.
and it's Exhibit B1 right up to B12.
Thank you.
Have you found it, Mr. Sundaram?
Just getting there.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Number 6, P1.
Yes, thank you. That contract, you have a name of employer there. Who was the name of the employer?
Infinity Media.
Okay, and then and your name as the employee.
Yes.
Thank you. And then if you turn over the page, you under B12. That was the employer that signed the agreement.
Yes.
Yes, and you say that you did sign it, but we do not have. Commission doesn't have the one that you signed.
Well, I was given 2 copies. I signed one copy and handed it back. And this is the copy that I retained with me.
Yes, but you confirm that everything that's here is actually the agreement that you signed.
Yes.
With Infinity Media.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Then, so you are in India, then you signed this agreement, and this agreement was signed in May, am I right? Not, if I may just take you to that paragraph. It was not signed when you came into South Africa. You were still in India at the time.
Yes.
During that period, after you signed the agreement, where did you start working?
Well,
maybe let's...
Maybe just take the date first.
I'm sorry, before you proceed, before we talk about where he starts working, maybe you just want to spend a few seconds highlighting the important features of the agreement, of the employment contract.
Yes.
What he was to do, for how long.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. If you go to page B2, page 7 of the agreement. You have there the fixed term of the contract. At page 7. Are you there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What was the fixed term of the contract?
The fixed term of the contract was 2 years.
Yes. And the dates there? It was to commence when?
1/5/2013 and will terminate on 3/4/2015.
Yes. And then if you look at paragraph 3 or clause 3 of that agreement, there's a heading there. What does it say?
Foreign employees employed by the company.
Yes. So this would have applied to you, am I right?
Yes.
Yes. And then what is it that they were going to pay for? In 3.1.1. Same page. B2, page 7. Right at the end.
Right at the end, yeah. All right, so 3.1.1, air ticket one way for the employee and all members of his direct family by eligible class as determined and approved in writing by the company.
Okay, did you bring any of your family members?
No, I did not.
And then if you turn over the page, you've got appointment and job description. What was the nature of the job that you were hired to do?
Well, I was given the designation of editor, and it was my responsibility to help set up the station, to make the editorial workflows, to make sure that the technology that was brought in to give consultancy on that, because I had worked with various other stations. So while I'm not an engineer or a technician, from a journalist perspective, I would know which works more efficiently or is more suited for the kind of systems that we were setting up here. So I was to give my advice on those issues.
We're vacillating between two very important broadcasts which both have a huge public interest, but we're now going to go to the South